Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Friday! It is Friday, and it is Oracle Friday. Aloha Oracle Friday. So before I get started, we got the guidelines. Number 1, do not worry where the message is coming from. I only work from a good place. So if you're seeing this, there's a reason you are here. Number 2, do not make a card fit your question if it does not resonate with you. Forcing an outcome or an answer not meant for you can cause unnecessary stress and overthinking. And especially because we're doing the romance angels today, okay? So please don't try to make something fit you if it doesn't feel like it resonates with you. Number 3, I will give you the message I receive and the message from the book because someone took the time to write it and put it together. And number 4, angels, God, heaven, etc. might come up, so feel free to insert your higher power or the universe. This will help the flow of the reading without stopping to clarify. So again, I usually tap into Archangel Gabriel when I do my readings, and yeah, let's get rolling. I got the angel answers, the romance angels, the New Orleans Oracle deck, magical messages with the fairies, and the unicorns. In fact, I have a card I need to put back into the unicorns because it's been very pivotal in my journey this week. But first, the Moonology card. All right, it's a waxing moon now. And so yesterday was the newest of the new moon. It's when the new moon was at its darkest. So the waxing moon now means it's going to be waxing into a full moon, okay? When the full moon goes into a new moon, it's waning. So right now we're in the waxing phase. And what the waxing phase is the new moon is kind of like the manifestation moon, the prayer moon, the intention moon, the wish moon, if you will. And it's basically it's planting your seed, right? And setting this intention and letting it kind of grow into fruition. So the waxing moon is when this will happen because it's going to slowly take root and grow. So the energy is gaining, momentum. All right. During the waxing moon cycle, I just read these because this isn't part of the reading. So during the waxing moon cycle, hope springs eternal. This card is a very positive omen, indicating that you can create the reality you're dreaming of, though it will take some work and you're not quite there yet. This is a time of energies rising up. Emotions are building too. Where do you want to go, and do you believe you can get there? Either you can just keep meditating and focusing on your desired outcome, or you can make the courageous commitment to take more practical steps towards your goals. Whichever you decide, you are most certainly on the right track. So attune to the moon. I know I'm headed in the right direction. So that's your affirmation for the new moon, okay? Or the waxing moon, I should say. I know I'm headed in the right direction. Additional meanings for this card. The situation is full of potential. Your dream can come true. You got to have trust, faith, and believing, right? Trust, faith, and believing. More effort is yet required. Are you willing to give it? Review your goals and ensure you're committed. Keep moving forward. All right, the teaching. The waxing cycle is the period of the lunar cycle from new moon to full moon, and during this time the moon appears to be slightly bigger and rounder every night. This is a very empowered and empowering time, and this is a very promising card. It suggests now is the time to make plans and to act on them, no matter when you actually pull this card. So, and that's the truth. I just read these around the moon cycles because I think it's kind of fun, but yeah, no matter when the moon cycle is, or when you pull this card, it's telling you, just move forward. All right, so let's get rolling. Angel Answers deck. This is the one deck I do not read the book on just because it's kind of the gathering deck, I guess, you know, for lack of a better way to put it. Just when I wait for people to come on. So I do apologize for being a little late. I was just so tired when I woke up this morning, and you know, I think I needed the extra sleep. So you know, my hair's a mess. I forgot my mascara. I know. But that's okay, because it's a good day. It's a good day. See, that extra hour of sleep is actually the extra almost 2 hours of sleep. So I got up at 6. But, all right. Let's see. Come on. What do you got to tell everyone? Oh, there's 1, 2. Okay. Oh. 34. All right, one more. Oh, how about that? One more. All right. So I usually try to start with 5. Sometimes we end up with more, but it's usually a minimum of 5. All right. This time I didn't see any of these that fell out of the deck. So communicate clearly. Whatever you are going through right now, you need to make sure you are communicating clearly. Otherwise, there's too much room for either miscommunication, wrong interpretation, all that stuff. Right? I'm so sorry. My hair is just driving me nuts today. But yeah, so you need to learn how to communicate clearly, okay? Big happy changes. Hey, when you communicate clearly, sometimes you get those big happy changes, right? Because then somebody realizes, oh, maybe we've been on the same page. We're talking about the same thing, but we've just been saying it differently. So when you communicate clearly, that can happen. But no matter what, this is a new moon cycle, okay? So just know that big happy changes are on the horizon. Maybe you were going through something, or maybe during the full moon, waning full moon, you know, were working on releasing something. So now's the time to kind of benefit from all that hard work you've done and expect those big happy changes. That's exciting. I don't know what this is for, but it's the yes card. And trust me when I say the yes card, because there's another one in there without the exclamation point. Without the exclamation point. So, yes. So whatever it is you're waiting for, whatever it is you're hoping for, yes. Now, remember, yes doesn't mean it's going to come to you exactly as you asked for it. But it does mean that it's going to come to you the way it is meant to come to you. All right? It's up to you. Okay, so seriously, now I got New York, New York in my head. It's up to you, New York, New York. It's up to you, New York. I know, sorry. I'm clearly in a mood, and I haven't even had coffee. Literally rolled out of bed, put on a touch of makeup, and poof, here I am. But yeah, it's up to you. You know, it's funny. I'm blanking on this one, so maybe there's little steps that you still need to take. Maybe it's the surrendering or the trusting or the believing. I was journaling this morning, which is what I think kind of wiped me out, because I came up with something huge about surrender, and it's up, you know, sorry. And what am I trying to say? I know my mind is blanking on this one, but I was working on the term surrender and how I didn't think I was doing it right. I mean, there's no wrong way, but it's like I tend to try to control things, and I'm working on just learning how to go with the flow, learning how to, you know, from the unicorn deck, let go. But yeah, so it's been a bit of a journey for me, and so seeing this card, it's up to you, I think it was really about doing that, or really kind of understanding and stepping into that power. I mean, when we surrender to the darkness, and now I'm not saying surrender to the darkness, you know, you're not going to hell. When I say surrender to the darkness, I mean, there's kind of a darkness in all of us. There's this place where we keep all our hidden stuff, where we keep all the things we don't want to deal with. And sometimes we have to face those things in order to move forward. You know, you can't have light without darkness, and you can't have darkness without light. They're the yin and yang, right? They go together. And I think my problem is I haven't been able to surrender to the darkness. That is where I keep all that junk and stuff. And so, you know, and to me though, the darkness is the unknown. It's not knowing, you know, what's coming next, right? When you're in the dark, you can't see your way unless you're absolutely familiar with your surroundings. But if somebody put you in a random building, you know, in a random office building, shut off all the lights, closed all the windows, and you were completely in the dark, you're going to have trouble finding that door. But when you sit long enough, you'll realize that somewhere, if you move carefully and you move slowly and you move without fear and you move in peace, and you surrender to this moment, you will start to see that your eyes not only adjust because there is light coming from somewhere. And then as you slowly move, you'll start seeing the light under the door, and you'll be like, hey, there's the door. And that's what I mean by surrendering to the darkness. We have to surrender to our fears, and we have to be stronger than them. And I know this may not make a lot of sense to some people, because you're probably thinking, you are batshit crazy, you are out of your fucking mind. But seriously, the darkness is not what we're taught that it is. Okay, the darkness is something different for everybody. The darkness is, the things that we do that are bad habits. It's not trusting the next step. It's not trusting the path. It's being unable to move forward without some kind of fear. It's being unable to move, period, when you're just stuck in one spot because for me, I have a dinged up mental health, and sometimes I let my dinged up mental health get the better of me, and it can upend an entire day. And then you're just exhausted. And I think that's where I was, because, yesterday was an awkward day. It's like I had a great day, but at the same time, there just felt something nagging. And I think it was this stuff. So we have to learn how to trust. So, and when you do that, there's a peaceful resolution. There's a peaceful resolution. So I know that trusting isn't always easy. It can be very hard. Having that faith, but we need to do that for ourselves. We owe that to ourselves. We get ourselves through these things every single day, and then we choose not to trust it. So that's what I'm working on. So, and I'm sharing that because I don't want people to be afraid of doing that. I don't want people to be afraid of working on these things. So the romance angels. Remember, do not try to make a card fit that does not resonate with you. It may resonate later, but if it does not resonate now, don't try to make it fit. Okay? These are kind of general readings. They're not specific to one person. So, and they may feel specific to you. When I say the general reading, I follow my guidance on the cards I pick every week. Or when I do the Aloha Oracle. In fact, next Friday there will not be an Oracle because I have therapy in the morning. But, so, physical therapy on my brain. So yeah, I'm kidding. It's just regular therapy. Think Freud, Jung. But yeah, so, these cards are, sometimes we end up doing mental gymnastics, right? To try to make things fit our whim. But like I said, if it resonates a little, excuse me, if any of these cards resonate a little, that means keep it on the back burner. Okay, but the only reason I worry about the romance cards is, even on like YouTube, where you have like 5 million people doing readings and stuff, right? And I mean, my stuff ends up going up there anyways on my channel. But a lot of times we just sit there and go, oh my god, and then when it doesn't happen, we're like, oh, because they're general readings, which means out there's a group of people that this stuff is going to happen for, but it may not be your time yet. All right, so it may not be our time for anything. I'm not getting anything. Oh, never mind. Oh, the minute I say that, 3 cards popped out. Oh, that's interesting. So the first card is free yourself. We were just talking about this. Free yourself. It's time to take back control of your life. Free that unicorn from inside of you. Let it free. Let it be free. Let it go. Let it do its thing. Right? Ooh, look at the unicorn. So again, it's time to take back control of your life. I literally was just talking about this, so I don't know that there's much more I can cover on that, because that's exactly what it's like. It's like sitting in a dark room, waiting for your eyes to adjust so you can find the light and find your way out. And, sometimes we have to find that peace within us. We have to have that faith that we are going to, see ourselves through this. And yeah, sometimes it can be scary, especially when you're in unfamiliar territory, right? Like maybe this isn't something you normally do, but all of a sudden it's kind of like, ooh. So this is what it's talking about. It's just have some faith and have some trust and take control back of your life. Now, it's kind of a double-edged sword, this control thing, right? So you're taking control of your life, but in order to do that, you have to let go of control. Okay? So I know. You have to decide for yourself what that means for you. So let's see. Like the unicorn in the image on this card, you may be feeling trapped. Perhaps you've relinquished control to someone else, or maybe you feel smothered in your career or relationship. As you tune into yourself, you'll sense the specific areas where this message applies to you. You can even ask yourself, in what ways do I feel limited or constrained? Trust the answers you receive. This card comes to you from the romance angels because they've heard your call for great love. Aww. To experience, oh, that was not sarcasm. That's like, aww, someone's finally listening. To experience passion, though, you must first allow yourself to feel deep emotions. In doing so, you may come up against areas of your life where you harbor discontent. Simply by acknowledging these areas, you bring light to the situation and allow room for the angels to help you. As you commit to taking back control of your life, your feelings will naturally thaw and reawaken. This leads to a greater capacity to love yourself, your partner, and your experiences. So, yeah, you have to learn how to feel deep emotions. I know a lot of us can be closed off from time to time. Maybe something scares us, maybe something triggers us. And, triggers are something that can literally get better over time, but we have to work at it. And maybe that's not for everybody. Maybe not everybody wants to hit that, healing, not unintentionally, or I should say not intentionally, but unintentionally, because sometimes that fear, that pain, that anger, it becomes, again, that itchy, scratchy blanket that you've had for thousands and thousands of years that you cannot let go because it is so comfortable. So we have to sometimes get comfortable being uncomfortable to get through that healing, to find where that healing really kind of is. Okay, so stay optimistic about your love life. But I'm going to skip that one and go to heart conversations, because the last one, it talked about to experience passion, though, you must first allow yourself to feel deep emotions. In doing so, you may come up against areas of your life where you harbor discontent. Heart-to-heart conversations can help that, whether it's with a partner, a friend, a loved one, a family member. Honestly discuss your feelings with each other. Okay, so this looks like it's really kind of geared towards the relationship thing. Not thing, but towards relationships. And we're not mind readers, all right? You can't sit there and go, well, I guess you could, and you can keep doing that until they answer, instead of just saying, can we talk? Now, I know sometimes, even with friends, right? Like older sibling and I will sit there. It's like, you know what? We need to talk about something. And then it's something totally normal, but we both think we're in trouble for some odd reason, and I think that just goes back to when we're kids. It's like, you need to sit down and listen. But, whether, like I said, so whether it's like a sibling relationship, a friendship, or, if you're in a relationship, especially in relationships, don't expect your partner to be psychic. Even if they are, don't expect them to be psychic. If you have something you need to talk about it. Maybe when you're first getting into a relationship, that should be a pact that you make. I think sometimes people wait until they get married or until they're engaged, right, to start having these deep, hard conversations saying, well, I think if we want this to work, we need to make sure. But I don't think, like if you're past the dating part and you've kind of moved into this, like partnership, this significant othership, right? And you're somewhere between dating and being engaged or being committed, fully committed. You're committing to each other and, just to each other, if that's your thing, then, or whatever your thing is. When it goes past the dating part, maybe just make a rule. Look, if we're getting to know each other still, if you're having these issues, talk to me, because the only way we can work through it, the only way we can find these compromises is to have these heart-to-heart conversations. A lot of times as humans, we figured, no, I can handle this, I can do this. We try to control things. We're not freeing ourselves. It makes sense that the first card was free yourself, because a lot of times we're afraid to have these conversations because maybe you've had it with someone before and it didn't go well and things may have turned out bad. But that means that person was just not meant to be with you at that time, and I say at that time because sometimes, things happen and, people find their way back. But do you really want to constantly be pulled apart before you figure it out? No. But when you have these heart-to-heart conversations, when you sit down and have the hard conversations, then, you're able to find those compromises. You're able to find these things that work for the two of you, or however many of you are in this relationship. And I say this because, there are polyamorous relationships out there now. So, well, not now, but have been, but they're just more open now. So if you are in a romantic circle with somebody, whether it's two of you or however many, you need to have these heart-to-heart conversations. Okay, so I have to tell you, one of siblings in my guilty pleasures is watching Sister Wives. I know. And I have to tell you that the guy, the husband, is constantly blaming everybody else for all these problems. Now, we don't know what happens off screen. Okay. But, you follow these people on social media, you kind of see what's happening, and you get the gist when somebody feels like they're not seen. And this one wife, who is no longer a wife now, just kept saying, we really need to talk. We really need to sit down and talk. I don't have time. I don't have time. He was always like, I don't have time. So she decided to leave. And now he's all butthurt. And he's angry. And he's pissed off at her. And now he's taking it out on everybody else. And he keeps blaming one person for his inability to be open to have these heart-to-heart conversations. Now, I'm not just trying to rake the guy over the coals, right? Because sometimes it's the women. But, you know, just judging from what we're shown and judging from what you see on their social media stuff. I know, what did I say? It's a guilty pleasure. But, you know, this was not my show at the beginning. This was Sissy and an older sibling show. And, you know, for some reason, I just got sucked in the last couple of years. Like, really sucked in over the last couple of years. But, you know, you kind of root for the underdog. But a lot of these things, and that's just an example, because like I said, this is TV. Reality TV can sometimes be scripted. I don't particularly think that one of these situations was. I think sometimes we handle things badly. And we don't mean to, but we do. And then we don't want to feel responsible for it, so we don't take accountability. We've all been in this one guy's shoes. And we've all been that person, no matter what it is, you know, where we just can't seem to open up because we think everything's okay. We just want to pretend that everything's okay because we don't want to see that everything's falling apart because nobody wants to feel like a failure, right? But life happens. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means you're learning how to do something differently and you figured out how not to do it now, you know? So when you have these heart-to-heart conversations and you go deep and, you know, honestly discuss your feelings with one another, that can really help open those doors and that can save you a lot of, you know, heartache and trouble. So your love life needs a healthy infusion of honest communication. According to the romance angels, you've been harboring emotions that are masking your feelings of love. There's still time to heal the situation. However, it will require effort on your part. You may need to initiate an uncomfortable discussion and risk upsetting your partner. In the end, though, this is a necessary move to ensure the health of your relationship. If necessary, schedule an appointment with a counselor to facilitate the discussion. It's funny, I was just thinking about couples counseling. And I'm going to stop this for a second and say, you know what? Sometimes it takes that third party, because sometimes somebody might get defensive, you know, one or the other person might say, hey, but yeah, and or maybe your voice raises and it just triggers the other person, or not triggers, it just kind of upsets the other person, and then now the two of you are bickering and fighting and doing all this stuff, and nothing gets talked about. So sometimes having that third party, whether it's a therapist, you know, or a counselor, they can help move you through these things without World War III starting. You know, and a lot of times it can bring so much clarity because you're listening to one another. You're not getting defensive. You're not being offended by something. You're listening, because a lot of times when we get defensive or we become offended by something, we start hitting below the belt and we're saying things we don't mean. But there, you know, a sibling always tells me, you can't unring a bell. You know, you can't unring a bell. So even if you apologize and the person accepts it, that was still out there, and that's still out there and will always be out there, whether you meant it or not. So sometimes we just have to, you know, sit down, take a deep breath, have a discussion. You know, even if you need to if you start fighting, going, you know what, we need to stop and come back to this when we have calmer heads, because this is not going to end well. And sometimes when you do bring that back to the table, there might be, you know, and you have to set ground rules sometimes. You know, no hitting below the belt. Let's talk this through. This has nothing to do with this, that, or the other. And people don't like their shortcomings pointed out to them. But sometimes we need those shortcomings pointed out to us so we can fix it and heal it. Because sometimes we don't realize that those shortcomings that we did not take care of when, you know, we were just out in the world floating like a feather in the breeze, they can affect other people. And they can hurt other people. And they can cause a lot of damage. So that's what that's what the heart-to-heart conversations are about. So again, if necessary, schedule an appointment with a counselor to facilitate the discussion. This professional can steer the conversation away from blame and towards resolution. You can also gain support from free groups such as Emotions Anonymous. They have an Emotions Anonymous. Okay, I'm sorry, I did not know that. Codependence Anonymous, or A1 Anon. Meetings are held internationally and online, and you can find them through your internet search engine. So A1 Anon is, if I remember correctly, it is families of alcoholics or families of substance abusers. So, so that I want to speak more on that because I don't know much more about that, but older sibling has told me a little bit about that. So, if those are things that you need, then those are good things to have. They're the tools that you have, and you can find pretty much anything on the internet now, right? So whether you communicate with your partner alone or with a neutral third party, your heart-to-heart discussions will result in personal growth. Remember that you can't control another's reactions. You can only be honest about how you feel and know what you will and won't accept in a relationship. By sharing your feelings, you stand a much better chance of teaching your partner about your needs instead of suffering silently. Suffering silently can build into a mushroom cloud, and you do not want that to happen because that's when things really, really fall apart. All right. So stay optimistic about your love life. Here you go, all you single people, including me. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. I did not see this card coming, but I know it's basically me and this card having a heart-to-heart conversation. So stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. So I know it's hard. We think we're failures if we don't have this, that, or the other by certain age. There was so much that I should have had done by the time I turned 50, and absolutely none of them happened. Well, life happened while I was making plans. So it is what it is, right? And we sometimes we have to learn how to pivot. Sometimes we have to learn and say, okay, maybe this wasn't meant for me, or maybe this wasn't the time for it. And we just have to. It doesn't mean we have to be happy about it, but we have to heal from it. Because being unhappy about something you can't change is just it's going to rip your heart out, and it's going to make you feel like a failure. It's going to just throw you into a spiral, whether you have a dinged up mental health or not, because you might feel alone. You might feel sad. You have to learn self-love. You have to learn to love yourself before you can love anybody else. And, I know that we say, yeah, but there's people out there who lack self-love and they have somebody. Yeah, they do. But their relationship might be difficult. Or it could be a codependent type of relationship. Or maybe that person was meant to help that person through. Not all of us get that person to come into our lives and teach us the self-love during a relationship. Sometimes we're the ones who ground everybody else for everyone else. Yes, you can hear the animosity in my voice when I say that. I pretty much grounded everybody I've dated for the next person that came along and reaped the rewards. But I used to be angry about that, and I know I still sound angry about that now because I don't talk about it very often, but you know what? I do know that something I did helped somebody else. Even if they hurt me, that hopefully they got their shit together, and the next person that came along didn't have to feel all the bad things that I felt. And that's our thing too, where we have to teach ourselves self-love. It's always wise to have that self-love, that self-love cup full, because you cannot pour from an empty vessel. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And a lot of times we might sit there and think, well, why doesn't anyone this? And then we start making bad choices. Maybe we end up with people that we're not really sure we should be with, but just to not be alone. So I know I always joke about being single, but I am the kind of person that I'm terrible at dating because I get so shy, and I've had people flirt with me. Recently, a couple months ago, a guy at the movie theater was flirting with me, and I had no freaking clue. And I told 3 different people about it, and they all looked at me and they're like, hello. And it's like, oh, I know. And I don't know why I'm like that. So, and I'm also the kind of person that I can't be physical with somebody unless I'm in a relationship with them, because that's not me. And that I'm not judging anybody. That's just me. So, I don't know, I'm sure they have a term for that too. But yeah, so just stay optimistic about your love life. If you're single, don't feel so bad. Enjoy a relationship with yourself. Take yourself to the movies. I love going to the movies by myself. I don't mind going with other people, but I love going by myself because I know no one's going to talk to me. And I know I'm not going to be tempted to say something to somebody else, but I'll take myself to the movies. Occasionally, I'll take myself out, either for a drive or for dinner or lunch or coffee. Sometimes I'll just sit in the coffee house by myself and write in my journal, or bring my computer and just type on there. Just little things. Learn to appreciate and love your own company. Okay? Because there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. We stigmatize being single, I think, sometimes. We stigmatize, and I mean, I do want to get better at dating. I do want to get better at, because I mean, yeah, we all want that person in our life, right? I mean, sure, I have a great roommate, older siblings, awesome. But sometimes when you're having that really, really bad day, you just want that one cozy, significant other in your life that will just hold you for a while you just try to figure it out while you're falling apart. And sometimes a hug from a sibling is just not enough. So, not that it's a bad thing, and I'm not putting her down, because older sibling gives great hugs, but sometimes we need that romantic aspect, to help see us through certain things. But you also need to figure out how to see your own self through certain things, okay? Because what if you fall apart at the same time? What if they need you, and, maybe you're not in as far gone as they are, and one of you has to step up, and sometimes it has to be the one person that is you. So just stay optimistic about your love life, but also give yourself some grace, give yourself some compassion. There's nothing wrong with you if you're single. It just means that your person's still out there and you're waiting for them. Oh, I don't have my watch on, so I can't tell where my person is. I feel like the Jeopardy music is playing now. And you got to make light out of it, right? So stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. The romance angels send you this card to remind you that you have a strong influence upon your love life satisfaction. If you've been complaining or worrying lately, the angels guide you to shift to a more optimistic perspective. Even if you've had your romantic hopes repeatedly dashed, there's still reason to hold the faith that real love can be yours if you believe it. Today, take action steps to positively manifest the love life you desire. Whether you're single or in a partnership, begin by visualizing yourself as romantically happy and satisfied. See and imagine yourself with a wonderful partner who embodies the qualities that are important to you. Imagine that person appreciating and loving you too. Now, I know it said the word partner in there, but I think what they're talking about is, I think this card is really aimed more at single people, but it's also encompassing the people who are in a relationship that, maybe things just don't feel right. Maybe things are a little stagnant. This is where the heart-to-heart conversations can come in. So you have to free yourself from whatever you think is going to happen if you try to say something. And, you have to approach the subject, carefully. I mean, don't sit there and go, oh, I made you this great dinner, and then drop it on somebody, because then they're going to feel like every time you make them this great dinner or this, whatever, that, you've got something bad you want to tell them, or something bad. Just sit down and say, hey, you know what, can we talk a little, because I'm feeling a certain way, and I need to know, where we're at. How are we doing? Do you not see this, or do I not see it? Or, maybe you want them to be a little more romantic. People don't always realize their actions. Sometimes we have to open up and say something to have those heart-to-heart conversations, but also stay optimistic that everything's going to work out. If you are with a good person, they're going to understand where you're coming from. It may not be easy for them. It may be a little hard for them to wrap their head around it, because maybe you've been holding on to this for such a long time that they're kind of like, whoa. But you just open it up sometimes with, this is just examples, okay? I'm not telling you how to run your relationship. I can't tell you how to run your relationship, because every single relationship is different. But if it were me, I think I would just sit there and say, you know what, it's not easy for me to talk about this stuff, but I really need to get something off my chest, and I really need, to have a heart-to-heart with you, okay? So, I mean, these are all things I've come up with over the course of my singlehood. All these different things that I've thought about in situations, and that doesn't mean we're going to remember it when we're in it, but it's about developing a healthy mindset so that you can have a healthy relationship. So you can write lists and conduct your journaling sessions. Okay. You can write lists and conduct your journaling sessions about your feelings, hopes, desires, and intentions. You can also create a dream board. Dream boards are fun, with images and phrases related to your love life goals pasted on a poster board. Daily, look at this dream board with positive intent and follow any inner guidance to take actions related to your dreams. Your positive outlook will make you a more physically and energetically attractive person, which will definitely help your relationship with yourself and everyone else too. So, yeah, there you go. All right. Those are the romance angels. Okay, let's do the New Orleans deck. A little break from the fairies and the angels. So let's see. I feel like there's one card in here that just wants to be seen. So, and there it is. That was fast. All right. Ooh, let's see what the magic is here. Oh my God, this is funny. This was the one at the bottom of the deck. End of a cycle. End of a cycle. This is great. I feel like this is very validating because I just feel like I came to the end of a cycle and that poof, life is ready to just be like, hey, Shelly Marie, here I am. So, yeah, sorry. I hit that. So, yeah, it's kind of like, woo, end of a cycle. This can mean a lot of things. You know, if you spent the last couple of weeks from the full moon in, you know, doing the waning whole thing and you were releasing stuff, this means that you have come to the end of that cycle. Now, that doesn't mean that the situation may necessarily be over. What it means is that what the end of a cycle means is that you may have completed this part of your journey. The journey is life. Life is the journey. But, you know, as we move along, we learn things. And as we move along, we learn how to deal with things. We learn how to have a better perspective or a different perspective on something. We learn how to move through the hard things. And as we do that, we have certain times where there's an end of a cycle. I recently had to do some stuff for that involved my family, and I had to, a couple of family members, older sibling, baby sibling, a very good friend of mine, and, you know, like just stuff that just needed to just kind of removing the negativity and stuff, you know, and that just seems to surround our lives. And so I was just doing a lot of the Ho'oponopono work on that and trying to kind of give us a fresh start, like a fresh perspective. So the end of a cycle feels very, 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 very nice to see that come up. So that means everything's going to start getting better. And all the other cards are pointing to that too. So let's see. End of a cycle again. So this card deck was made by a woman who lives in New Orleans. And it really was kind of, if I read it correctly, it was inspired by just, you know, how the town just, whenever there's like a destructive hurricane that comes through, this town learns how to rebuild. Their spirit never seems to die. They just... They mourn for a little bit, then they pick up, they clean up, and they start all over. So there's a real sense of resilience in New Orleans. So Hurricane Katrina signifies the end of an era in an unexpected and uncomfortable way. The hurricane led not only to the devastation of well-known comforts, but also to the beginning of desired growth and forward movement. Many times it is necessary for things to fall apart in order for them to come together. If this card has shown up in your reading, you can expect that your comfort zones have been shaken up. The good news is that whatever your perception of change or loss is in this situation, there are wishes about to be fulfilled on the horizon. Focus your energy on the things that you do have control over. Move forward step by step instead of trying to create the entire plan in advance. There will likely be things that arise during this time that can be perceived as setbacks, but if you focus on what is in your power, this experience, while not the easiest, will still prove to have a positive outcome. So there you go. You know, just work through it and know that good things are on the horizon as long as you stay open to them. You know, they don't always have to sit on the horizon. They're waiting for you to just see them so they can pop into your life. You know? So, magical messages of the fairies. Let's see. Ooh. Haha. I know it's funny. I feel like this reading is partially involving me too, because usually the cards, when they fall out face up, but all of these have fallen out face down. So I have no idea what's coming. Alright, one more shuffle, and if nothing comes out, I think that one was trying to come out. There it is. Alright. I always try to give it 3 shuffles, so Oh, yeah, I moved the box and there it is. Patience, please. So, when you're waiting for something, sometimes we have got to do what is the hardest, I think, for human beings to do. Patience. Sibling and I are so different. It's funny. I mean, she's my best friend, so we're not actually related, but she's like an older sister to me, so, or she's my older soul sister. So, the patience this girl has, seriously, I always tell her, I'm like, I asked her to teach me that. She's like, you can't really teach it. I mean, you can guide people, but you have to learn it for yourself. You have to learn how to be patient. But her patience and resilience is just astounding. I mean, it is like worship worthy because I suck at patience. I'm getting better, but I do tend to get impatient. And I think that's because, we're kind of like, we want this done now. And, we try to control things so much because it just, it's like always having a plan, right? And sometimes, while you're making a plan, life happens. So sometimes we have to learn how to kind of compromise and know that we have these plans, but understand that sometimes they might get upended, or sometimes the outcome may be delivered in a very, very different way. And there's just so many aspects to this. We have to learn how to go with the flow. And basically, patience is learning how to go with the flow. So what you're asking for is coming about. Have patience as there are unforeseen factors or unseen factors that need to occur first. So yeah, if you're putting something out there, remember this or something better, because what you're asking for, if you're just saying, I specifically want this and this only, you better learn how to be patient, because you're going to be waiting a long time. Because if whatever you're specifically asking for is not meant for you, it's going to take a long time, and it may come to you in a way you don't want it to, and it may come to you in a way where it can harm other people. So just say this or something better, and know that whatever it is you're asking for, you're going to get that or something better in its place, something that's meant for you. Sometimes we sit there and go, yeah, but I manifested this. Well, that's because it was meant to be in your life. It was meant for you. And some things are easier because they're just out there in the open. They're just out there to be, ripe for the picking. But there are very specific things that we ask for. Maybe going back to the romance angels, right? Maybe you're looking for one specific person. I want that person. And that person may be meant for you. We don't know. But if they're not, you're just going to be sitting there waiting forever and ever and ever. Right? And so, you have to trust that everything's going to work out, and that whatever's meant to land in your lap will land in your lap. Okay? So, patience, please. And, oh God, patience. It's hard for me to talk about patience because I have zero. Actually, no, that's not true. I've gotten better. I have been working on it very, very hard. And even older sibling says I am getting better at learning patience. So, there. I know, right? So, the fairies manifest desires instantly. Whatever they think about occurs immediately. So, they understand why you may feel impatient when your prayers aren't answered right away. This card is reassuring you that your desires are being worked on. Sorry, something's making my computer all wacky. All right, so let me try that again, guys. Sorry. This card is reassuring you that your desires are being worked on behind the scenes. Although you may not perceive those results at present, trust that things are moving in the right direction. You'll soon see and experience your desired outcome. So remember, this or something better. You're not always going to get what you asked for, but you're going to get what was meant for you. So, oh, there it is. That's why. Okay. Heaven has heard you and is working on your prayers. What you're asking for is nearly at hand. You'll receive the money you need. Keep the faith, stay positive, and continue affirming and praying. Oh, these are additional meanings. Sorry. Keep the faith, stay positive, and continue affirming and praying. Your relationship with your soulmate will soon manifest. Ooh. And wait before making a move on the topic you're asking about. It just feels weird that those two are together, right? Your soulmate will manifest soon, but wait before making a move on the topic you're asking about. I don't know. I know they're all different. Oh, of course. Patience and perfect timing. Aren't these just the same thing? Aren't these just the same thing? It's like these cards are mocking me today. So this is the right time for you to move forward. So yeah, this is perfect timing. It's the right time to move forward. But oh, that's funny. They're back to back in the book. They're back to back in the book. But yeah, perfect timing is basically divine timing. All right. And we have to have patience while we wait for divine timing, because divine timing is not up to us. It's up to the divine. So I know you're like, duh, hello. But yeah, so I think a lot of times we forget about that. We forget we need patience. And, sometimes, even with the romance cards, when it said have those heart-to-heart conversations, you may need to have one with yourself. Why do you feel so impatient? Why do you feel like nothing's happening? Why do you feel this, that, or the other? Are you being patient? Are you waiting for divine timing? Are you having faith that everything is going to work out? Are you having trust that everything is going to work out? Because if you are not having any of these, it is going to be a struggle for you. It is going to be like pushing a rock up a hill, right? Just to have it fall down. God, I cannot think of who that was that story was about. It's I know who it is, but it's skipping my brain right now. But yeah, so just know that perfect timing is in your corner. You just have to be patient. Okay? If you're wondering when your desire will be fulfilled or when is the best moment to make a change, the answer is now. The universal energies have aligned perfectly and have opened a gateway for you to easily step through. This is one of those times in life when you're on a roll and everything you touch turns to gold. Take advantage of the divine timing and make your move. Any additional preparation at this point would be akin to procrastination. Take one step at a time and move forward today. So, additional meanings for this card. Your positive thoughts and affirmations are working, so please keep them up. Stop procrastinating and take action. Make a clear decision. Trust your inner sense of timing about this project. Keep the faith as your prayers are on the brink of being realized. Take advantage of your spare time and use it to achieve your goals. I think that's the perfect card to end on, is perfect timing. Patience and perfect timing. All the things that we talked about today, they all take patience and perfect timing. When you came to the end of the cycle, like in the New Orleans deck, it required patience and perfect timing. It required that patience for you to learn how to move through whatever it is you needed to move through to help you understand what it is that you were moving through. And I'm not being specific about anything because we're all different. We all move through things differently. We all, see things differently. So it's very important for us to remember that, perfect timing, it really is divine timing. So don't stigmatize yourself. Don't put yourself down. I've said it before. I'm 50 and I'm just like, I've been single forever, like legit forever. I haven't dated in that same amount of time, and I haven't been with anyone in that same amount of time. Just myself. But, I'm a pretty good relationship. But, like I said, you do want that companionship. You do want that person, your person in your life. And so if that's one of the things that you're waiting for, just have faith, have patience. Okay. If you have a dinged up mental health, or if you're going through some stuff, don't stigmatize yourself. Don't, ostracize yourself or ostracize you from your feelings, right? Because those need to be taken care of. Those need to be healed. Those need to be, cleared up so you can clear that path. It's like, having a front door and nobody can get to it because, like in Sleeping Beauty, right? In the cartoon, Prince Philip needs to go up to the castle for, to fight Maleficent. So, blah, blah, blah. And, I know I'm kind of a Maleficent fan and I love dragons, but he had to get through all the vines, right? To get there. So he's just whacking away. And, think of those as being your feelings. And if you've never seen the cartoon, then, just think of it as here you are, and in between you are all this, impassable, obstacles that you put up. And it's like you want people to jump through hoops to get to you. But, you need to clear these hoops away. No one needs to prove anything to you. Except, and I think sometimes we use that as a barrier, as a wall. The most magical people that come into our lives could be people that you wouldn't expect to come into your lives. And I don't mean just romantically, I mean period. I have a friend and I actually met her through her ex-husband. And, it's just funny because her and I became super close. We became like really, really good friends, like almost like best friends. And it's just nice. And you just, like I said, you never know when these things are going to happen. It was just a random thing, you know. Did a 5K, and you know, a bunch of people met through the hashtags, and then, you know, we've been friends for about almost 9 years now, or 8 years. So, you know, you never know. You never know, but you have to let down these walls. You have to just get out there, stop procrastinating, just take control of your life. Okay? So, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll be back here on Monday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public under Shelley Marie Lucas. Anybody can watch. We do not need to be Facebook friends. I do upload these to my my YouTube channel, The Aloha Perspective, and I also share it to the Facebook page, The Aloha Perspective. Monday, we'll be back to body mindfulness, day number 25, and that's it. All right. So have a great weekend, everybody. Have a safe weekend. Think about what was said here. I know I was a little all over the place. That's the kind of week I've been having, but you know, like I said, I've been doing a lot of spiritual work this week. So it's, you know, I'm lucky I'm able to talk right now, but yeah. Oh, here comes the gardeners. So it's good to have this momentum. Stay in the momentum. Don't lose momentum. Even if you need to stop and take a break and take a deep breath, because maybe you need to get your thoughts and your heart and your feelings back in order. But don't go backwards. Keep finding a way to move forward. All right? Have a great day, and thank you so much for watching.